welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Want to take time to thank Jake and the gang over at Patriot Patch Company. That's patriotpatch.co for their awesome work on these awesome patches. This is the current patch of the month. It's a morale patch. Nice. When you sign up for the patch of the month, not only do you get that, you get a vinyl and the drawing of the patch before it became a reality. So pretty neat. But they also have a crap ton of other awesome stuff there you got to really go and check out. So also want to take time to thank Sean and the gang over at FRN, Firearms Radio Network, for giving us a place to hang out every week. So it's firearmsradio.tv. Check out all the different podcasts over there. There's a bunch over there. New ones coming and going all the time. So make sure you keep checking them out. So, how y'all doing tonight?
I'm tired and good.
Tired and good?
Tired and good.
I know that feeling.
Tired.
I'm fine. I've been doing a little reloading, believe it or not.
Oh, that's good.
I polished up some brass. About 900 rounds of 9mm. That's actually noticeable. And then I polished up about 705 rounds of 40 brass. Polished up about 705 rounds of talk about confusing. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm confusing the hell out of myself.
Ruh-roh.
Too many screens.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that.
Mm-hmm. Hell out of myself. There.
Click, click. Click, click.
Yeah, thanks. Jorgen, behave yourself. I got one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. But I ain't that far gone yet.
Sharonda, what you been up to?
Unpacking the hen's den, and also I am pre-warning you guys, I'm going to be bugging you later in the year because the women's organization that I'm part of that I also helped found, we're planning to do a disabled veteran women's hunt this doe season. So we have some all-terrain vehicles donated to us. We're going to pay for the ladies' tags, hotel room, accommodations.
Nice.
They're going to be able to hunt on their own. So I'm going to be soliciting you guys, if you know some disabled women veterans that would like to go on a doe hunt, to sign up with our group. And then we will also pay for one hotel stay if they need to stay longer or fly in sooner or wherever they're coming from. I'll probably be bugging the community if they want to donate to pay for extra hotel room. But we're covering everything else except for airfare.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my big thing, and I'm excited about it. Other than that, nothing.
What about the non-resident hunting license?
We are covering that. So we're taking care of license, tags, and hotel stay for 1 day.
Are you providing ammo and weapon or firearm?
Yes, unless if they want to bring their own. And they don't need to have hunting experience, but they do need to have firearm experience.
Oh, yeah.
And they get to hang out with me.
No conceit in your family. You took it all.
Nope.
I'm the fun one.
How about you, Mikey? Did you do any, well, wait a minute. Sharenda, have you been able to do any reloading or anything like that?
Just clean the brass that I've been finding as I've unpacked, but no, the hen's den is still under construction.
Okay. How about you, Mikey? You done anything in the way of reloading?
Not really.
Well, yes, you did. Well, guns and reloading.
Yeah.
I got 2 new toys.
Yeah, one you said I called it a smelly, and it turns out I was wrong. You said.
Well, I don't know for sure. It's not stamped smelly like the other ones are. It's a Mark IV, and to my understanding, Mark IVs are not smellies. It's the 3s that are the smellies, but I don't know.
Do you know what that acronym stands for? SMLE.
Oh,
I do not.
I used to.
Okay.
Give me a minute, I'll tell you. Unless Paul Nelson says it first. Okay, so SMLE, which is short hand for short magazine Lee Enfield variant. The Smelly was World War One version, so this one isn't that old. Mine was built in 1950. So, and Nick R actually beat Paul Nelson to it. So, yeah, so mine is not a Smelly because mine was made in 1950. Mine's a Mark IV number 2. And the numbers all match. So
Jorgen Ragan also put it up. Short magazine, Lee Enfield.
Okay.
According to my screen, yeah, he actually got it up before.
Yeah, he was above the view line. So yeah,
Yep.
Jorgen won. So let's see here. Interesting. So they would call their stripper clips chargers. The 303s for the British, they would call those chargers. You know, let's see here. So I'm sorry. I said Mark IV number 2, and I had that backwards. It's a number 4 Mark II. And somebody asked about what site it is, and I will share screen and show. So this one here, I don't know if I can make it bigger or not.
Charging clip.
I don't want that.
That's
This is the
photo.
site that mine has.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladder aperture sight.
Ah.
So this flips up when you're going to go farther. Otherwise, it lays flat. So this part here with the knob, this knob actually rolls forward and sits here, right up in front of right behind the right behind where the rail is for the stripper clip. And then there's a peep here. So kind of like it looks like you're looking through the larger sight on a A1 style M16 M4 A1 style sight where it's got the 300 600 yard option. So, but it looks a little different. So,
Do you
but
have
anyway.
any idea how long that barrel is, Mike?
Nope.
Well, when you do measure, drop a cleaning rod down through the barrel on and let gently touch the bolt face. Mark it with a Sharpie.
Mm-hmm.
That'll give you the actual measurement.
So,
Just curious
yeah.
more than anything else.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So it's kind of cool. But there we go. So Jorgen said that he has been looking to get that site. So,
you know, Corey 8791 in the YouTube chat comments, he put a comment, it's like a grenade launcher. That's exactly what he said. I'm going to thank you, Nickar, for the measurement of the barrel length. But anyway, Corey 8791 puts in a comment about a grenade launcher. It's possible there is such a thing as a grenade launching attachment for your rifle.
So Paul Nelson said he says a real Mad Minute shooter would polish his charging clip so he could get a faster reload. Paul Nelson, I don't even currently have any 303 ammo, much less charging clips. So, yeah. At least not for that. For my SKS, I do. So, but
well, there you go. You polish it up fit them up
Nick
for the SKS.
25.2 inches is what the barrel should be. So,
yep.
So I got that. That's the cool one. And then the second one is a Savage 110 Tactical Hunter in 6.5 Creedmoor. Since I sold my other 6.5. But
is that new Savage? You have any optics on it yet?
Nope.
Got any thoughts on what you're gonna put on it?
Nope. Something cheap for now.
You just in that, ooh, I'm happy to have it mode right now. Have you snuggled it?
No. No, I didn't snuggle it. Sorry. My wife doesn't like it when I bring firearms to bed. So. But yeah, so those my two next ones. So, I don't know. I don't even know if I have. I don't know if I have an optic or not. The nice thing, it comes with a pick rail installed, so that's kind of nice. Actually, was that the one I was looking at? I don't know. We had a bunch of guns go on clearance at Cabela's, and one of the guns I was looking at came with a 20 MOA pick rail, and I don't know if it was that one or not. So,
Sorry.
Oh, wow, Jorgen. So Jorgen's response to my comment about my wife getting mad when I bring rifles to bed is my rifles never complain when I bring my wife to bed. Just saying.
Some of us are just not right.
Correct. So 454 Bore has a question. So if you would have asked me this a year ago when I was looking at planning my 6.5 load, I would have said large primer. However, from what I've been hearing, is for long distance shooting, that small rifle primer is actually better. They're getting a better powder ignition and a better consistency out of it. So, but you know, you hear one thing, you see another. But from what I've seen from people who are shooting and then the targets and stuff after, that's, you know. But here's the other problem you have: 454 bore. Do you have small rifle primers laying around? Because if you don't, you're probably going to go with large because that's all you can find right now. Because as Fun Crusher said, so when are small primers going to be in stock again? If I knew that, I would be a very, very, very popular man. I don't know. And you can call the companies and ask them, and they say no. So Sharp said that he shoots 1,000 with his, and he's using the large. So, well, see, there you go. You have small rifle primers, and I would follow Paul Nelson's suggestion and get the Peterson small rifle brass primers. Or small primer rifle brass. Small rifle primer brass. There we go. I'll get it eventually.
I was going to suggest that if you can't get the small rifle primer, Paul Nelson just put up a big comment, a very important comment that gives you a big advantage. Heavier base, that would be a heavier case head, allows for higher pressure. But I was going to suggest, my suggestion was if you can't get small rifle primer, to use large rifle match primer for more consistent ignition.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Palma team is using small rifle primer in their 308 ammo, and excuse me, and they claim they're getting better consistency in their ignition.
And then Rowdy said that dag nabbit. I just put it up on the screen too. Starline also makes small rifle primer brass. So, but so Travis, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Not bad. We were just talking about my 2 new toys.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that picture. Nice stuff.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting out with both. So. So Chris Sharp said he's using the large rifle Starline brass. So Paul Nelson said Peterson brass has straighter necks out of the box. Yeah. Jeremy found that too when he did the testing a few years ago. So, but.
Well, you know, I've been checking on Peterson brass, and I'll buy next time I buy 308, or they're actually making the 280 Ackley improved brass, and I intend to buy some of that. It's expensive, but their quality is absolutely the best.
Yeah.
I might be going off the air here shortly. I'm not real sure, because it looks like we're going to have a cloudburst happening.
Okay. Well, if you got to go, you got to go. Be safe.
Well, if I get kicked, I don't tend to go, but I might get kicked.
Oh, okay. Don't mind me. There's mosquitoes in here.
So, Mike, while I was gone, did you tell us how you came to acquire those firearms?
Nope. Other than I purchased them, but I didn't tell them the story behind the. So, the Enfield. We're going down to look at this car for my kid, and it's in a small town, about 20 minutes south of here. So, get down there, and they're having a garage sale. The people that are selling the car are having a garage sale. Well, it's a garage sale. What do you got to do? You got to go look, right? So I got some antiques and stuff. And lo and behold, on the table all by itself is this Enfield sitting there. So I messaged the wife. And there we go.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I have personally never seen a firearm at a yard sale.
See them all the time here in Wisconsin.
Need to make some road trip past Wisconsin.
Hunt, shoot, off road. No, I'm not temporarily special. I'm always special. But seriously, I do have some mosquitoes. And by the way, which company is this one? I don't even know. Doesn't have a name on it. Some of these, when you buy them, they're absolute crap. So be careful. And I wish I remembered which one this was, but it doesn't have a name on it. So I think we picked it up at a tractor store or like a home and tractors type thing.
Tractor supply?
No, kind of like that, but farm and fleet.
Ah.
So, but. But anyway, oh, I took the battery cover off this thing and I can't get that back on. There we go. So, but yeah, this one works pretty good. I caught a nice big fly on here last week, a couple weeks ago. It just burned, just like it does in the bug zapper. It was pretty awesome.
We have another question from John Wilker.
John Wilkerson. I am new to reloading. I once heard about Lake City 308 brass should not be loaded the same way as Winchester brass, for example. I loaded 44 grains of Argon into a 308 Hornet Ace, 178 grain AMAX, and Winchester brass. Is it safe to do the same in my Lake City brass? So, I must honestly say I have not heard this. I have heard stuff going between 76251 and 308. So I'm wondering if maybe that's what he heard. But I don't know. I know I've got some Lake City that I've loaded up and I haven't had any problems with it. So,
well, I'm just going to go out on a limb and guess that he's kind of been told or someone's let him
he said he's new to the process.
Yeah, but I'm going to guess someone's let him know, just like we all know 223 and 556. 556 is the higher pressure. It's actually the opposite for 308 versus 762. So I'm going to guess that's kind of what he's referring to when he says Lake City brass.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
So that Lake City brass is less capacity, higher pressure, is what he's going to kind of be led to believe.
Yeah.
Well, I've loaded quite a bit of Lake City brass, and I have some commercial brass, shall we say, and it's a fact. You have to be careful. You have to load it down just a tad. You know, you as always, you reduce all maximum loads by 10% and work your way back up. But I use Lake City brass almost exclusively in my M77 Ruger Mark 77 308.
So Nelson said that Lake City is thicker, so that would indicate it's a smaller
boiler room capacity.
Yeah. So, Fat Elvis joined into the previous conversation of what SMLE stands for. So, hello, OCD Outdoors. It has been a while. Welcome back. But, crap. Where'd it go? John Wilkinson was saying somebody was telling him the brass is thicker.
He's right.
So I guess I've not done a comparison, so I don't know if it would be thick enough to cause a problem.
It is. Max load is and max loaded commercial brass would actually be an overload in LC brass.
Anyway, all right. Where did that go now?
We got a busy channel tonight.
Oh, yeah, that was different. So, okay. Problem with the military is the way they test their loads. Yeah, because they don't really care about pressure as much because of the whole entire different scenarios that they're dealing with. So they're not going to have pressure issues like we would. So, because the chamber gives a lot more, typically, anyway. I mean, there's other factors in how they load it, but
I've said many times on this very show that the military does not have to conform to SAMI specs. They don't, and they don't have to.
nope.
So, Mike, did you see a couple comments up? You had a Facebook user question.
Yeah, I was going back to that. All right, so hello everyone. I reload 9mm now, but want to start reloading 6.5 Creedmoor. Besides a case trimmer, is any other equipment I need or anything you recommend? So that's kind of a loaded question because we don't know what else you have. So
Set of calipers.
Mm-hmm. Most important tool in your repertoire is a set of calipers and a scale.
Hey, Mike and Travis, are you guys past that point where you're still case gauging yours?
you never get past the point of case gauging. You should always case gauge them. Never assume.
Well, I do, just because I'm not a seasoned vet like you guys yet.
Doesn't matter. Never assume.
Yeah,
Even
I'm
with
not
Travis,
doing every. Go ahead.
even with Travis's 1050, I bet you he's probably grabbing not every case coming off, but he's probably grabbing every 10th or every 50th, and he's checking them.
Exactly.
Just like when I'm cranking out with the 550, I'm not just throwing them in there and letting them go. I'm case sizing them, because here's the thing: there are, especially with a progressive press, there's so many different things that could just change just a smidge and cause you to have a problem where it doesn't fit. Say you're Travis and it's competition, and now all of a sudden your tap rectal is not going to work because that thing's stuck in there because you jammed it in there. So lots of different things, but always check them. Never assume. And whether that's with a case checker or plunk test. Plunk test is where you pull the barrel out of your handgun, or I suppose you could do it with your AR too, and drop the case down in and check and see if it fits properly. So that's Shane Donnelly that asked the question. And Shane, what all do you have? and I'm asking him on Facebook. So as we're doing all this, so because that's kind of Paul Nelson was saying that Sammy actually cuts a hole in for testing for the pressure transducer. So, but anyway,
So John Wilkerson's got another question.
yep.
I guarantee you those are high-tech coated projectiles.
Now, a question on 9mm. I bought some 9mm pills from Brazil's Bullet Company. They are great priced, however, they are cast with a golden colored coating. I cannot find any reloading data on these rounds. Should I use data from the Lee manual on lead bullets? Short answer, yes.
You want to make sure the bullet weight matches up with what the load data is in the Lee manual.
That's the long answer. And that same goes, honestly, for the most part, the same goes for powder coated and plated. Because
I was going to say, when you deal with powder coated and this high tech projectiles, you can look at plated, not Full Metal Jacket, but plated load data.
Yeah, if you find plated low dama. If not, go with your regular cast. So, all right. So, Chris Sharp, follow-up question on signs of pressure. So, speaking of pressure, it's my understanding higher pressure can cause primer pockets to become loose. Other than the obvious primer falling out, what other signs are there?
Extractor marks, extractor swipes. What I'm talking about is on rifle ammo, you got an extractor plunger where the the ejector plunger actually backs off when you put the case in. And if you get it high enough pressure, the brass will start to flow into that hole that the ejector plunger is in. So it's called an ejector plunger hole swipe mark.
Or you can take the head of the brass and you can actually see where it was slammed into the bolt and you can't see the lettering anymore.
Yep.
That's a little more severe.
And you can also, with a 0 to 1 mic, it goes clear down to tenths of a thousandth, I should say. You have to use a blade mic or ball attachments. But
Yeah.
you can actually mic the case head. You can actually mic the case head across like so.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep.
And you see swelling at the head of the case where my fingers are touching. You mic it before and mic it after. If you see swelling more than 1/10 of a thousandth, you're going to you're getting up there.
Definitely. So, Paul Nelson's just kind of sharing some more information in the chat about the difference with.
That's an excellent comment, Paul.
Military versus standard. So he says NATO pressures for 5.56 are 6,300 or 63,000 psi, and commercial is 59,000 psi. So military is going to load them hotter than your standard stuff. So he says ejector swipe is too much pressure. Not many people have a blade mic. Correct.
I agree with both comments.
Yep. And Jorgen said pierced primers, flattened primers, cratered primers. Some other variables affect these other than pressure. Case head mic method. Yeah, not a lot of people have it. So basically, if you can take an unloaded round and it does not look the same as a loaded or not an unloaded round, if you can take a loaded unfired round and it does not look the same as a fired round, you've probably got some pressure issues. So typically, not always, but typically. But so Shane has answered. I have calipers, RCBS turret press, balance beam scale, powder throw, case gauge dies. I only hand load pistol currently, but I want to know if there's anything additionally I need to start reloading rifle. 6.5 Creedmoor in this case. So he's got calipers, so that's a good start. Turret press, good idea. Balance beam scale, powder throw, case gauge, and dies. Definitely case trimmer. Trying to think.
No, I think you're right, Mike. The biggest thing missing for a rifle would be the trimmer.
Yep.
Trimming and deburring and chamfering. So you need tools to take the burr off the inside and outside of the case mount.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's the larger selection. And that could be anything from the simple, cheap Lee setup to your serious multi-$100 case prep stations. So, it kind of depends what you want to do. So
John Wilkerson, highlight that, would you, Mike? Because I know exactly what he's talking about. I remember reading about this, and basically what he's saying in here, it says, would you read that, Mike?
While completing a law enforcement AR armors course, there was a case study on a rifle that blew up. The investigation, in quotes, yielded in the finding that the agency was using .223 match ammo that was not crimped. In cross-referencing this among various groups, it seems like just as many don't crimp that do. Any words of wisdom?
Yeah, so I remember reading this not too long ago, and a bunch of people were kind of commenting and chatting amongst themselves about this. And he must have read the exact same thing where he's got parentheses around investigation. Basically, they don't have a clue what really happened. They have no idea what caused it. They just pointed at something to blame.
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing to do.
I'm sorry, Travis. Go ahead. You weren't done.
It had nothing to do with crimped, not crimped. Something blew up. They don't know what it was, so they just pointed a finger and said, it was that ammo.
Well, I was going to say uncrimped ammo versus crimped ammo. You're going to have more bullet pull with crimped ammo. So, I don't buy that bullshit about using match ammo. I don't, unless the only thing I can think of is somebody chambered around, pulled the bullet out, had a bore obstruction, and they shoved another round in behind it, and now that would blow up any rifle.
Right.
There's two bullets over one charge.
Correct. There's too many things that could have happened. Could have fired out a battery. Like you just said, maybe there was a barrel obstruction, but I know that they just pointed at something to lay blame on whatever they could.
Idaho Rogers USMC has put up the comment or question. Does anybody know of a primer pocket gauge and where to get one? I would suggest that primer pocket gauge, Idaho, I would say try using the RCBS primer pocket swaging tools. The tool itself is actually, if you can get it in there, you don't need to remove the crimp.
So, Dave, just borrow mine. I got one.
No
I got
kidding.
one right here. And but if you want to purchase one, ballistic tools. We've talked about this a couple of times. Ballistic Tools makes a really nice.
Quite a few.
Yep, but Mike, it was only you looked it up for us the last time we talked about this. It came with the neck
3-piece set.
neck gauge, the primer pocket gauge, and a third tool. I got them all sitting behind me, but it's from ballistictools.com, and it was $30 or less.
That's cheaper than the primer pocket swaging kit.
So, crap.
Okay.
Hook'em's giving you trash, Travis.
Yeah, so this one, that's what it is. Oh, crap. Hold on. My camera got unplugged, and it looks like trash.
You look like the Phantom of the Opera with a white mask on.
So, Shane, one other thing. Case lube.
Yep, case lube for rifle ammo. Case lube and a way of applying it.
Yep. So,
Quite a few people don't care for the Hornady one shot either. By the way,
I know.
they get wind up with stuck cages.
Yeah, because they have to follow directions on using it.
Yeah. Hook'em ain't here. It says Hook'em.
Sorry. So here is the 3 set that you purchased from Ballistic Tools.
Mike, would you zoom in on Travis, please?
Do I have to?
Yes, please.
Damn it.
So, come on, stupid camera. So here is the neck gauge for large and small necks, and you can see
224, 308, 311.
Yep, you can see graduating marks maybe for those watching.
Yep, I see him.
And I think it must be on the a sheet of the instructions what those measurements are, but that's for your neck tension. So that comes in the 3-part kit. And then this is a small prime. This is what you're looking for, Idle Rogers. So this is a primer pocket.
He's actually
no-go gauge.
Go no-go gauge. And I just took a red Sharpie and a green Sharpie. So this is the no-go side. And green, obviously, is the go side. So that's small primer pocket. And then it comes with just a large primer pocket. And I did the same thing, red and green. And I do believe Mike looked it up for us last time. I do think it was $30-ish.
Yep, it's still $29.99. I'll put the link in the show notes.
Yep,
we have a question. Go ahead, Trav. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Dave, I'm sending you that link right this second.
We have a question from the panel themselves. Mike,
I don't know why she couldn't just ask the question instead of typing it.
Because I wanted you to put it on the screen too.
Oh.
Well, while you're doing that, you can zoom in on her too. There she is, the one with the coffee cup in her face.
There you go.
Now, read your question, Sharenda.
I guess I should take myself off mute. So I have a order of coated bullets, a little thicker than what I like. So I was just curious, can those be resized again? And I don't have a resizer, so I'm asking
100% yes.
How do you know the coating is too thick?
Okay. Because I measured it and then I scraped a couple and remeasured. I was bored. So I literally scraped.
I'm impressed.
The
You
coating
actually did it the right way. Well, what you're talking about is compressing the coating itself. So how much is it to oversize?
They were measuring at, I actually wrote it down. Hold on, let me flip my sheet here. They were measuring at 0.359, and they felt a little thick too. And I prefer.
Yeah, there's some bullet molds that drop it at 358, 357, 359, and then plus with the powder coating, that can add 1,000th, 2 thousandths maybe.
Yep.
But yeah, you can run through a sizer, no problem.
Okay.
Lee makes a push through bullet sizer that you can use, Sharenda.
Okay, I'm gonna look that
and
one
they're
up
only
so I can add it to my list.
$20.
Thereabouts.
Oh, that cheap?
Yeah.
$20.
Oh.
I have one for 308.
Nelson said, yeah, check with Lee bullet sizing dice. All right. So Michael Mann said, I just tried one shot today, and after sticking every fourth case, went back to the RCBS pad and did 400 more cases with no stuck cases. 223. Yes.
Why am I still
He's not the
zoomed
only
in?
one I hear saying that. All right. So two major things for one shot. First and foremost, you have to let it dry. If it's wet, it will stick. And second, you have to get it at the case from multiple angles to make sure you get coverage. And Jorgen, actually, for one shot, the entire idea behind it is that you actually were spraying each case. So, but if you're doing it in a loading block, but frankly, Michael, my question for you, if you're loading that much, why aren't you using lanolin in a bucket that you can just dump the whole thing in and be done with it easier?
I use
The lanolin's way better.
I'm just
In my
honest. When I'm using one shot, I'm not doing more than 50 cases or 100 cases at once. So why, if you're going to be doing that much, you honestly should start doing lanolin. It's just so much easier.
I use lanolin on my machine gun fired brass.
Paul Nelson said on use one shot, clean your dies, and spray your dies with one shot. That would work. So. And Sharenda's way of reminding me that she was still zoomed in on is, why am I still zoomed? No one wants to see my mug this long.
Bullet sizing die kit right there, Travis' hot little hand.
This is what you're looking at when you go on Amazon. Just pick this up, $20. And they got different
Sharenda,
sizes.
here's your answer, by the way. That's the answer to your question. Trust me, Sharenda, we aren't here to look at them other fellers. No, they're not.
Jorgen, you just earned yourself one brownie point.
Okay. So, Michael, what you do is you can either buy, a couple of companies make this stuff.
Travis has got it right there in his hot little hand again.
But that's the stuff you made, though, right, Trav? Okay. So what Travis did and what Jim does, what Jason does, and I'll get around to eventually when I start cranking out that many at one shot, is what Scott just posted in the chat. 1 ounce lanolin to 12 ounces heat in the red bottle, not the yellow bottle. Ultimately, preferably, you want to try and find 99% rubbing alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol and rubbing alcohol, the same thing, just depending on how you want to look at it. But if you can find the 99 stuff, cool. If you can't, buy the red iso heat. And then lanolin, and you mix it up.
In the spray
That's a
bottle.
12-to-1 ratio. And then you can spray it out of a spray bottle, or you can put it in a bucket and then dump all your brass in there. The only problem with that is then you get it on the inside. So, but if you're one of those people that cleans your brass, so.
Travis, move it over to your, yeah, that's better.
Let me zoom in on him.
That's lanolin and the iso heat. Injector
There you
cleaner.
go. Okay, so there you go. And Paul Nelson says he uses Redding's Imperial sizing wax. And if I was out at my bench, I could grab it and show it to everybody. But so OCD Outdoors says the one shot works great for the dies because it keeps rust off of them. I like that idea. Jorgen said, I feel like the lanolin recipe comes up so often we should have a flashing scrolling banner that goes across the screen every few minutes or so, interspersed with patch of the month and coupon codes. I'd like that, and then maybe if we can get a sponsorship from ballistic tools, we can have that 3-pack go across too. Travis, get on that, would you?
These guys are
Sorry,
hilarious.
Mike, I kind of blocked you out. I was reading Mark Hookham's comment, and I'm thinking I need to learn how to
Oh my
change a wheel
God.
bearing.
Oh my God, no. No.
We got to change wheel bearing.
No. So, 454 bore says he prefers his lanolin alcohol mix over even imperial sizing wax. Yes, because it's easier. So, imperial sizing wax is amazing stuff, but it must be applied, usually by hand. So, all right, Wilkerson's got some more questions here. So, from John, 2 questions. First, one of the websites I go to in order to find reloading data in the Hodgdon site, it's when looking up the charge grain for 180 grain 40 cal, there are 2 different options. Only one of those is 180 grain BERB FP. Does BERB stand for Barry's bullet? I don't know. Usually there is some sort of indication. I would have to look that up to find out. So I will look that up and find out, and we'll get back to you on that one.
Mike, if you don't find anything, I can email one of the guys over there. I can harass them and find that out for you too.
Yeah, or I'll just email Chris. So, second question. My Lee manual doesn't give data for CFE pistol in the 180 grain lead, but it does for 180 grain copper plated. Is it safe to use the CFE data for copper plated on the same weight coated lead rounds? Coated, as in...
Surely he's talking about powder coat.
If he's talking powder coating, yes. If he's talking ALOX, no. Is my honest answer. So,
My lead manual doesn't give data for the CFE copper fouling eraser pistol in the 180 grain lead bullet, but it does give for the copper 180 grain copper plated bullet. Is it safe to use the CFE data for the copper plated on the same bullet, same weight coated lead rounds? Mike, I would have to disagree with you. In fact, the ALOX is a softer coating than Travis's powder coat.
right.
So the data
But
should
he's
be all
talking
right.
copper plated, which copper plated, they push faster than a standard lead bullet.
That I agree with.
So that's why I said no.
Evidently, I misunderstood you. My mistake.
No problem. I kind of mumbled my way through it. So, holy crap! They list an 88 grain for 40 Smith & Wesson. Oh my God! I got to find that and make it fly.
Oh, I'm in love. Where? 80 grain? My God, that's gonna be all jacket.
88 and 97 grain
Who?
for unhodged data.
Oh,
Has anybody ever seen Jim get this excited about anything?
talk about large bullet going very fast. Paul Laud, you were a pot stirrer if I ever saw one. What's this ALOX you speak of? Only the best smelling substance there has ever been used for powder for coating bullets, not powder coat, but it's a liquid lubricant.
I got to go back a ways because I think I missed a question.
I gotta look that up. 80 grain 40 caliber bullets.
88.
88.
88. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I think somebody asked a question earlier and I missed it. So about smoothbore and rifled and so. Guy that comments says, does anybody know if there's a 250 grain 45 Colt or 240 grain 44 Special or 110 grain 38 special rifled bullets / slugs. I mean, there's not. If you're talking like a Forster slug, like there is for 12 gauge and 20 gauge, never seen one. As far as everything else, there wouldn't be any sort of special projectile specifically for rifling because they're all designed to be used on rifling. All of your pistol barrels are going to be rifled, so that's kind of the thought on that. But yeah, if you're looking for like a Forster slug, no, not that I've ever seen. Aha! So 88 grain is the ARX Interceptor, so that's a composite. So yeah,
What's that? Would be like what frangible?
Kinda, I think, but it's a little different. So,
Well, looking at that, that's got to be mostly jacket.
454 Boar wants to know: does anyone know if the Widden Universal Click Adjustable Lock Ring will work with the Gerard trimmer in order to make adjustments easier to do? I don't know how the Gerard trimmer's set up, but I wouldn't think so. Because my understanding is the Gerards are kind of like the world's finest.
Yeah, you'd have to look at it. If it's got standard thread pitch, like a standard die, then yes.
That's right, Travis.
If it doesn't, then no. Fat
Elvis said, quote, 454 Boar, yes, the Widden lock rings, click rings will work on the Gerard.
There we go.
I'm with Mike. The ones that I'm picturing are the ones that basically you hook into a drill or whatever. So unless Mike can use his Google Foo real quick and find a picture of what a different setup, they won't work.
So let's see here. I wonder if he's talking about the power trimmer. So, probably talking about power trimmer versus the handheld one.
Yes, like I said, if it's got a thread pitch just like a die, then yes, it will work.
Yeah. Yeah, for the Gerard power trimmer, yes, I believe it will work. So, but not for the handheld one. So, yeah,
Hey, Sharenda,
he clarified the tabletop power trimmer. Yes, it will work. I concur with Fat Elvis 111 and second that notion. Yes, it will work. Excuse me.
Were you yelling at me, Travis?
Yes, Mark already said it though. The Lyman M die will help you out, or Hornady has an expander die similar to that, or Lee has their expander die too. And I could add one of those into your pile of stuff.
I like stuff.
I don't think Travis heard you, but that was a yes, a definitive yes, Travis.
So what Sharenda's was just talking about, I know a lot of new reloaders, especially doing cast or heck, even plated or anything, deal with this. You want to just real quick, Sharenda, kind of say what we were just kind of talking about? What problem you're having?
So I got some powder coated bullets from a company, first time ordering. So I checked the diameter on them. They're a lot larger than what I'd like for them to be. So the problem I was running into when I was seating them, they were shaving some of the coating off. Also, I have mixed brass. For plinking, I don't sort them. So some of them were bulging, some of the brass, and I only have a 550C and one set of 9mm dies. So I don't want to keep adjusting my dies as I'm trying to load. So I'm just trying to get other options.
So here's the cheapest option. This is what I started off with a long time ago. This is Lee's expanding case expanding die. You can see it's just a standard kind of a die, threads right in, and it's got your adjustment here, just like any other die would. And then on the inside, I just took this apart. You get two options with it. You can see there's this one and this one. So I just got a piece of 223 brass right here. So if you need to expand the neck on a piece of 223 brass, and I just grabbed the wrong one and dropped the piece of brass. So here's the piece of brass. This is the one you would choose, and you can see how it just kind of fits right in the neck. And you can just kiss that neck with it to, gosh dang it, Butterfingers. You can just kiss this neck with it to flare it out. So you doing 9mm, using cast and powder coated, you do want to flare the mouth a little bit more so you don't get those shavings. You pick this bigger one here, and like I said, this Lee one is universal. So that's what you would use, is this one here. There we go. Choose this one there and just flare the mouth just enough that you won't get those shavings. And you actually just take the cap off and drop whichever one you want. Tip first, always tip first. And put the second one behind it, and that's how you would adjust how much flare you would give whatever case you're talking about. And I will add one of these in your little pile because I've got 3 of them and I don't use any of them anymore.
I appreciate you.
I don't know why I have 3 of them, but I have 3 of them.
Because you're
Probably 'cause you
Travis.
lost
You wouldn't
one.
be you if you didn't have 3 of everything.
I don't know where they came from. So Paul Nelson just had a good point. It depends on what he says.
Gracie.
Travis, will her seating die
Hi, Gracie.
remove the flare? So that's part of when you add the flare to your brass, you're opening that mouth out, putting the flare in it. So your bullet, your projectile can sit in there, and then it has to go to the next state. Goes to the next, let's call it next station of seating that projectile. So you need to seat it and then remove that flare. So I'm gonna what 9mm dies are you using right now currently?
My Dillons.
Okay, I just let me interrupt for a second, Travis. Remember, too,
Go right ahead.
depending upon how she's charging her case, her powder flaring or powder drop tube is flaring that case quite a bit already. She may need to just simply drop adjust the powder measure down ever so slightly more to increase the flare on that. Because remember, on the 550, we only have 4 stations. Got to have one for sizing, got to have one for powder drop, got to have one for bullet seat, and then at the same time, preferably, I think she's doing her crimping last in the 4th station.
Yep, you're 100% right, Jim. The Dillons, the powder drop, that will flare your brass, so you could take your die powder hopper down to give you more flare.
Yeah, we're talking like a tenth of a turn, a quarter of a turn at a time, shredded. Nothing radical.
Yeah, but my only thing with that is I don't have to do it on all my brass, just on some, and I'm not at that stage where I'm sorting mine by
Oh,
manufacturer yet.
who sorts 9mm brass? If
I'm
you
just
find someone who's sorting 9mm brass, there's something else going on in that individual's life.
Travis
They need to-
Travis' tool would be good, but remember, Shrenda, that's for a single stage press. Like that Herder's press you have,
yes.
that would work.
Okay.
But you might as well just go ahead and account for, if you're doing a whole bunch, account for the ones that need it, adjust it to do them all to meet that one that you're having issues with.
Yep.
And then you won't have any issues. Just take that one that you're having issues with, use that as your focal point, so all of them get flared. I mean, unless you find out you're getting some that are way over flared, I'm guessing you're not going to have that. But I would just use the ones so you don't have to sort them, because nobody sorts 9mm brass.
Hook'em does.
Well, like I said, if you find someone who sorts 9mm brass, they've got something wrong with them, something going on.
Well, I quasi stored. I mean, I know there's two brands where when I'm checking the head stamps, if I notice that there's a couple of brands, I just set them to the side because I know I'm going to have to slightly adjust my dies just a little bit.
There it is.
The Chris Sharp flare is that we're going to call it.
Yeah, but the Chris Sharp flare is FLAIR.
Ooh. That's the way he flares his wrists.
I don't know.
I think we're all going to pay for that. As soon as he catches on to what we're doing to him.
So K24 says, and I didn't know this, you can get an NOE expander plug for this Lee die that I just showed you. You can get a NOE one to replace.
Well, there
that.
you go.
Oh, that's that top of the line brand, isn't it?
They're
NOE
not
good stuff.
They got really good stuff.
Oh, poor Sharp. He's out.
So Andy 79Z28 says case thickness plays a part in the belling of the case, so keep that in mind.
He's right. So you are going to have to start shorting your 9mm brass, Shrenda. You and Hookham can be defective together.
I don't want to sort that much. I don't think you guys understand. I have like 5-gallon buckets of 9mm. There's no way in heck I'm sorting those.
Is it empty?
Oh, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nowhere near where you are, Travis, but after moving and unpacking, I was like, oh, I hit the mother lode. This is like literally gold over here.
Yeah, so there's no point in sorting through all that. Just adjust your dies accordingly and just come up with a commonality and call that good.
So Fraggle says I need to get on your level.
Pretty good.
Shrenda.
Pretty good.
All
trade.
you need is a unicorn hat.
There you go. So, for those who don't know, today is July 28th. And unfortunately, this morning, the YouTube firearms community lost Jeff Quinn of Gun Blast. So, for those of you who didn't know. But I don't know details or anything. I just saw that he'd passed away this morning. So, but
I have one here that I would like to address. Guy that comments 9:09:16 p.m. Would hot loads be a good idea with once fired brass, or should hot loads only be done with unfired brass? I would advise you to never use hot loads.
Yeah. Personally, I wouldn't unless I don't know of a valid reason. Excuse me.
Yeah, that sounds like a pocket full of trouble, or at least a handful.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to know the reason why you're looking at doing hot loads in the first place. So
I had a guy ask me one time, "Hey, will you load up 30-06 hot loads for me?" I says, "No, never."
Yep.
Still haven't loaded that ammo for him, and I'm not going to either.
Yeah, that's the other question. That's the other thing is Michael Main said define hot loads. True, define hot loads. So, and Paul Loud, actually, I think it's like 6 or 7 of those hats. So, hey Ed. So, Jim from Down Under has joined us. You said hi all plus P loads ? So, K24 said he sorts by head stamp for powder coated bullets, depending on bullet brand. So, yeah.
Hey, Thomas Peterson's got a really good comment. 454 Casole is my hot load. I don't go max load. If you need more than that, go with a bigger caliber, in his opinion.
Yep. So yeah, we'll see. The problem is the chat is a couple minutes behind what we were actually talking. So when we make a comment back to the chat, sometimes we have to wait a little bit. So, excuse me. But anyway, and show notes go. So, anyway, so yeah, Sharonda, I just flare the case. So, what I used to do with my 550, and we actually have a show where we changed my 550 on air, and set it up. I actually had a separate die for flaring the case, and we actually set it up so that the powder dropper is actually belling the case. So drops the powder, bells the case, seats the bullet, and then crimps in the last. So depending on how you've got it, but it also depends on what you've got for setup. Sometimes it's easier to crimp or seat than crimp all in the same station. So
yeah, sometimes you're forced to.
Yep. So, Paul Nelson says, unless you have the tools to measure pressure and can repeat your loading to 2/200ths of a grain of powder and can keep your pressure within 1,000 psi of max, then no hot loads. So, quick question for a friend. Raggle Fraggle wants to know, how fast would you push hard cast lead into 4570 load? He wants to go 2,000 plus velocity.
So that's where he's going to start getting some leading.
If it's not powder coated and it's not gas checked, no.
I push my son's. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
Gas checked? Sure, have at it. But
go ahead. Damn it, I'm sorry.
I got you. But he better slug that barrel first and find out what the diameter of the bore is and be doing at least 2,000 thicker than the bore. If he's planning on pushing it that hot, because even a gas check's not going to help if it's running around the gas check and the bullet's not actually seating against the walls like it should.
I pushed my son's 30-30 with lead bullets clear up to 2,200 feet per second. We didn't get any leading. The bore was clean. But the problem was we couldn't keep the rounds on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper at 50 yards. So the point being, If your Raggle Fraggle, if your friend wants to go that fast, good luck. As long as he can keep his loads accurate, you can't miss your target fast enough to do damage if you can't hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
So, and Thomas Peterson just said the same thing. He says they don't go past 1800 with powder coated, 45, 70, 300 grains. No leading, but accuracy went down the tube. Yes. Speed isn't always the way to go. So, just like most of the time, most of your loads, when you're working it up and you try and get to a max load, it won't get more accurate. It starts to get rowdier. So, interesting. And Rowdy just said he got a new toy from the CMP this week, a 1945 dated U.S. property marked 1911 with an Ithaca frame and a Remington Rand slide.
Parts gun.
Could be. Could be that batch that came from Korea. So. But.
And by the way, Raggle Fraggle, I realize my son's 3030 is nowhere near with the mighty 4570. But the point is, if you hit something, all more power to you. If you can't, you better back off and keep your loads focused more on accuracy than speed.
Right. Andy 79Z28 says, good night. Good night, everyone. So if you want to know how to cast zinc, go check out his YouTube channel. Because, yes, you can cast zinc bullets. And he's got some good stuff on it. So.
I may have to start casting pretty soon.
Well, I mean, if you get a bunch of wheel weights and they're not steel, might as well just set them off to the side.
Yeah.
So,
no, what I'm talking about is because I have so many 9mm bullets. Oh, my God, did I say that word? So many rounds of 9mm brass, I may not have enough bullets to fill them all.
There you go.
I guess Sharenda's going to be peering over my shoulder, watching me when I video myself casting bullets.
Stop.
Gracie, you dumb butt, that was me. Darn dogs. Okay. So here's what I want people to do. We have decided that we are going to do a from the beginning type thing again. We're going to go. Wow.
Yeah.
Vemgem just said he got offered 15 kgs of pure lead for $250 a kg. Yeah. That's awesome. Mark, I know you leave the dogs in. You get comments. So we're going to start. We're going to do this in order. So we're going to start with loading.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go into casting. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do, well, should we do, I guess the question that we want to hear from the listeners is, what do you want covered? How do you want it covered? And should we do pistol, then rifle, then shot shell, then casting? Or should we do shot shell, then pistol, then rifle, then casting? Or shot shell, then rifle, then pistol, then casting, or yada, yada, yada. So
I go shot shell. I don't know much about it, and I'm curious as all get out about it.
Okay. So Vemgem, 1,500 kilograms of lead. You don't know what to do with it. Set it off to the side. So, yeah, and Rowdy, I'll take you up on that offer. He said if you want a video on loading for military cartridges, let me know. Yes, I will take you up on that offer. Guy that comments, are double charges inevitable? Like every 7,000 rounds, you're bound to double charge one or two? No.
Good answer. No.
No, double charges aren't inevitable.
Unless you're careless.
Well, then
especially if you choose Yeah, especially if you choose the right powder too for pistol. Rifle, no. Pistol, if you choose some light, fluffy stuff, it's set up so you won't double charge.
Yeah. Double charging. You're looking at you did something wrong. Period. It's just like the only accidental discharge is if the firearm mechanically fails. Otherwise, it's a negligent discharge. You did something wrong. Period. Full stop. End of discussion. If you double charged a case, you did something wrong. So, Jorgen's solution is use a high case fill powder, and it's impossible. So, something like, say, Trail Boss, where it fills up the whole case, and you can't double charge it. So, but if you double charge a case, it's because you weren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. So, and that's the bottom line on that. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of that's kind of the statement for that, and you know that's what you got to look at. So it's flat out on you because you made the mistake. You weren't paying attention to what you were supposed to be doing. You missed something, and you double charged a case. And no, it's good you're asking rookie questions, because people are going to ask these questions and people are going to want to know. So,
I think we have a troll in the channel called Mark Hookham. He wants us to do something for 32 Magnum in show 3. He is a troll.
So he says, who wants a show in 312, 32 mag on show 312?
This is show 310.
I know. So he's asking a couple of weeks in advance. And Rowdy said, anybody needs some 50 BMG brass? Graphs has got Lake City once fired for 80 cents a piece. That's a good deal. So
I've never heard Mike sound that excited. I got a 2 for tonight.
well, I'm not a big fan. I don't have anything.
Holy shit.
I don't have anything 50 yet, but I mean, 50, anytime you see 50 cheap, that's a good deal. So
50 BMG for 80 cents a piece.
Yeah, unloaded or brass. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, as Sharenda said, there's never a stupid question when dealing with reloading, unless you don't ask it. So, I mean, and new and guy that comments, some of you said, sorry for asking rookie questions, but that's important. What you have to be careful of when you're getting questions and stuff is when you're asking rookie questions, if you are a rookie, just make sure you let them know, because unlike Reloading Room and the Reloading Podcast Group and here, some of the boards and some of the places would take how you're asking those as you're a troll and boot you, and you'd never get your answers. So what I tell people is make sure you let everybody know, hey, I'm just learning, or hey, it's a noob question, something like that, and just let them know. But that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do.
Exactly. We cater to the newcomer.
Yep. Just for that, I think I'm going to pick some oddball stuff. So,
Hookham, we didn't even mention 308 Winchester during show 308, so shut up.
Yeah, this is 310. We could have done 7.62 by 39.
We could have done 310 Marlin.
Yeah, that too. We haven't done Cartridge Corner, so we'll have to make sure we do that again next week. A legit Cartridge Corner, not just informational. So, Paul, I don't think that's going to happen. because if nothing else, Travis will bring it up just to complain about it. So Paul Loud asked, if we can future show requests, can we not talk about 40 Smith & Wesson for episodes 311 on?
Never.
At some point in time, even if Jason, Jim, or I did not bring it up, Travis would just to pick on us.
Just respect.
Yeah.
I think Loud's trolling us too against 40. What's wrong with 40? We like it.
Awesome. Oh no, this is the best comment of the night. This is absolutely the best comment of the night. Hey Phil Rebele, I hope you hear this. Chris Sharp said episode 337 will be Phil's episode, just not 338 enough for him.
Oh, we're going to. I'm going to make it a point to.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to make it a point to take and tell. What's the time on that? 1 hour, 26 minutes and 10 seconds.
There you go. Yeah, but see, it won't come back on editing. Editing, it'll change.
Oh.
Anyway, so. Great show tonight. Love all the questions. So, grateful for everything that we got for questions, good conversation, and great. Oh, okay. I know what he's talking about. Sorry. So Nick B said, I want to start casting. I was thinking about starting with 9, then going 223, then 300 AAC. Which Lee 9mm mold would be best to use? 356 diameter, 125 grain, 2 ogive radius. All right, Nick, here is your homework. Slug your barrel.
Give us a bore diameter.
Slug your barrel, get your bore diameter. Until then, do not start looking for for casting molds. You need to know what diameter you actually have so that you can make your mold 2 thousandths thicker or larger, however you want to explain it. Basically, so 9mm is typically a 356 diameter. However, let's say that I go in and slug my Canic that is in the safe and it comes back at 0.358. In that case, I do not want a 0.356 casted bullet going down the barrel because it'll go ding 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 ding, and I'll have leading all over the place.
Flop around.
Yes.
Sort of on the order of a marble in a tin can.
Yep.
Well, but just given the info that he just said there, if he wants one 356 diameter, his best bet is to go with the Lee 6-cavity tumble lube. So it's going to be Lee TL 356-124-2R.
TR. You said 2R.
I believe it is.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh, I'm sorry.
2R.
Yeah, you're right.
And then forget about casting 223. Throw that idea out the window. Throw that out the window and go ahead and cast for the 300 blackout. Decide what you want to do: 125 grain, 150-ish grain, or 230 grain.
Isn't there somebody in the group that is supposedly casting pretty good with 223? I think I saw him pop up a while ago and said,
I would never cast a bullet that small.
Yeah. There are people that do cast it, and there are people who cast it and powder coat it.
What you're talking about is, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike. I keep interrupting.
The only reason that you'd want to do that is, honestly, if you can't find them. So.
There,
that, Travis?
there's Mr. Smartass. Good for you, Travis. You shit ass. Shrenda, I think you're talking about either Travis is casting them, or are you talking about me casting bullet cores? One of the two.
Uh, Travis Caston.
Until someone comes up with a good mold for 223, this is the Lee the Lee 55 grain. These are powder coated. They've been in a bag for years because they just do not shoot very good. They're Taco and NOE, and there's some other companies, Arsenal. My opinion is we need to get some that is the 70 grain plus to get the accuracy, because from what a lot of us are experiencing, we're just not getting very good accuracy at all with these 55 grain powder coated ones. And if you had to put a gas check on these, they're so tiny. Yeah, I know Taco's been having some decent accuracy stuff with the NOE one that they're working on. I don't know if it's been released yet, but Elvis Ammo has his own. I think it's the Elvis Ammo mold from Arsenal, and I think it's a 77 grain, maybe an 80 grain. What are you?
Paul Lau just got you so bad, Travis. It ain't funny.
The Lee tumble lube mold is a good Lee mold to start off with, but guess what? You can powder coat that one.
Weasel
up in a box somewhere right over here on my shelf. I've got a box full of 124 grain powder coated, tumble lubed projectiles.
Powder coated and tumble lubed. Holy smoke, Travis! You're going back to the dark side.
They're not. You got me all discombobulated here, Jim.
Hey, Chico.
Okay, so Lead Bullet Junkie, he says the Elvis Ammo one is a 61 grain. I was thinking it was heavier than that. I'm just saying, I believe that we need some heavier projectiles to make it worth casting 223. And from what I've read and what I've talked to people, we're just not getting the accuracy we need out of these little projectiles. So for now, I'm just scrapping even thinking about casting for my AR or anything like that. I would recommend anyone wanting to get into casting, pistol stuff is ideal. Would you agree, Jim?
I can never agree with powder coat.
I didn't say nothing about powder coating. I said starting off casting.
Talking about getting into casting.
Starting off casting wise, casting for a pistol is going to be ideal for first time casters.
I agree.
Yep.
Now the bullet coating lubrication system is still up for debate.
Chico wise, I think Extreme had some in stock.
So yeah, casting pistol is definitely easier than casting rifle.
True, because it's not as critical, because rifle bullets are can be driven quite a bit faster.
Not only that, but you're shooting them at longer distances, so any imperfections are gonna show fast. So good night, Chris. Heal quick.
Night, Chris.
So, and Rowdy said, Chico wise, I would look up high tech ammo based in Wentzville, Missouri. I order a lot from them. They're a really good company. So I'll give them a shout out. So, and Nick B said, thank you for the advice. That's what I was looking for. You bet.
Take it easy, Chris.
Oh, someone's tired.
Is it past your bedtime?
No, I just been working on getting up at the crack of before the roosters are up working,
Aha.
like 4:30 in the morning.
I wouldn't know anybody that does that.
Man, and my go-go juice just ain't giving me to get up and go.
What happened to the newbie question we just had?
It's there. Scott McKenzie said, Chico Wise, check Everglades. All right. Newbie question alert. When looking at 6.5 dies, some have built-in micrometer. What's a micrometer used for? Forster Ultra Micrometer seating dies seem to be very popular from the research I've done. Have any of you used Forster dies? First part of the question first. The reason for the micrometer is so you can make minute adjustments in your bullet seating. So say you're going to seat your bullet and you're supposed to have an overall length of 3.022. And on your imaginary cartridge. And you check it out. And you're at 3.024. 2 thousandths long. That's when that micrometer adjust is going to come in handy because you can just do the little adjustment so you get it right. Versus trying to crank a partial turn here and a partial turn there on a thread, which isn't going to be very consistent and very accurate, where the micrometer adjustment is consistent and accurate. So as far as Forster dies, I have not. Jim?
No. I have my micrometer adjustments on my Reading die for the for the 280.
I haven't heard anything bad about them.
Nope.
So there's that, I guess. But
well, the one thing I will say, it's kind of a non-issue. On my micrometer adjustable seating die, I only have 0.375 thousandths of adjustment. On a micrometer, I'm accustomed to having a full 1 inch of travel. But like I said, it's a non-issue because I'm not using a micrometer per se. I'm using a micrometer adjustable seating die.
Yep, which is a different, as you were saying. So,
yeah, it's a non-issue.
So, is annealing 5.56.223 brass necessary? Yes, annealing. I wouldn't say pistol brass, but any rifle brass. I would definitely, or any bottleneck pistol cartridges. I would probably look at too. Say 7.62 Tokarev, or I think the 38 Mosin is a bottleneck too. I don't know. I don't remember. So, but also, should I trim all brass to the brass trim length from AR-15? I've gotten many answers on both sides saying yes and no.
The safe answer is yes. Because this way, all of his brass will be down to the trim length, every time he reloads it, but he needs to check his length every time. I'm saying trim your brass the first time you use it. Then after that, check it and see. If you start getting close to 1.760, you need to trim it.
So,
like I said, I'm just playing it safe on that one.
Yeah. So, that was from Joshua Nova, by the way, and the annealing question was from Stan. So, And then the newbie question alert from the 6.5 dies was from Shane. So that's the problem with Facebook. The Facebook comments is it doesn't always show up as who's actually saying it. So I like to go look. Do you anneal before sizing and trimming?
Yes. I
Yes.
just annealed 600 pieces last night, and I have to trim and size all that tonight if I want to shoot this weekend.
Ooh.
Well, he's got that Mark 7. It'll do all of it for him. But he's got to sit there and babysit it pretty much.
Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely. So, and then Paul Nelson, Lead Bullet Junkie both said trim all rifle brass, period. So, do you need to trim every time? No.
Agreed.
You need to check it every time.
Agreed.
But you don't need to trim it every time. But if it's new to you brass, unless it's brand new brass. No, actually, let me retake that back. I retract that statement. If it's new to you brass, trim it. Period. End of discussion. So that's kind of the simple answer to that is if it's new to you brass, trim it. Period.
At least check it. You have to check it. That is not negotiable.
Just new to you brass, just get in the habit of trimming it. Don't even bother checking it, just trim it. Because if you got your trimmer all set up, if it's good to go, then you're not going to cut anything off of it. So, Michael Mann wants to know how often you should anneal.
Every time.
There you go.
You get the most benefits if you do it every time.
Correct.
It's amazing. Travis and I agree on something.
You agree on a lot of things,
I know that.
even if you don't admit it in public.
Hell no. It's more fun to argue with the guy.
That's right. So, all right. Another great night. Great questions. Nice to see some more comments coming from Facebook land.
Hey, I got to say that we just surpassed 2,000 on Instagram.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Travis.
Yes.
Did you know you could post your videos on Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. You should start doing some of those maybe. Not the full long. I don't know if you really want to do your full YouTube series, but maybe some shorter ones where we can put some clips on there.
Yeah, we
And
can
one
start
of you
doing stuff like
placing.
that.
And one of you placing first will be great.
Well,
So.
let's say if anyone cares, I have been doing the this week in 3-gun. I have the last one queued up. I just need to finish editing it. It'll be posted probably tomorrow, hopefully. So if anyone ever wants to, you can go on Practice Score, type in anyone's name that you know is shooting, and it shows you all their last matches, where they placed, all of that. So you can check out me or anybody you want to on practicescore.com.
Yep. So, yeah, that's kind of the cool thing about practice score. So,
yeah, this last one, I liked it because we climbed up on top of a van and shot our shotguns off of the van and some rifle stuff off top of the van out to 200 plus yards. The range did catch fire too. That's what's interesting that I'm going to be posting. Somebody was shooting. We're assuming somebody was shooting steel core ammo. It wasn't any of us 3-gunners. It was people on the long range rifle area. When I say long range, it's like 200 yards.
Yeah.
They actually started the range on fire, and it moved from their rifle bay across to where us 3 gunners were shooting. We had to abandon one bay, and I got a couple of videos. Looked kind of a cool background where 2 guys were shooting, and in the background the whole place is on fire.
So you know what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to turn that into a meme. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
That's a good one. I'll have to do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the bad thing, Paul. Yeah, I did hear that that's what caused the fire. They were shooting those ALOX, those dangerous ALOX projectiles.
Oh gosh. So one of the Facebook folks says,
What if your brass is shorter than minimal size 223? Convert it into 300 blackout.
yeah, Stan, that was Stan again. And so, yeah. Well, I guess it depends on how short.
True. If it's the 1000s, 2000s, run it.
Yeah.
But if it's 15 or 20,000, so that's getting a little extreme.
It's now 300 blackout or Tokarev brass. So, you know, it used to be it was scrap brass, but now that you've got so many people trimming down 223 for Tokarev and for blackout, there you go. So.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I have a tote full of short pieces of brass or damaged split necks, whatever. They go in a tote for 300 blackout.
Split necks too. All seriousness. So Shane has another question. Says, sorry, last question. Well, for tonight anyway. I expect you to keep asking more questions. Now that you mentioned annealing, should I get an annealer and a case trimmer to start reloading 6.5? Case trimmer is absolutely vital. Annealer is not. If you have the funds, yes. You can also look on YouTube. There's hundreds of different options to make your own for under $100. And actually, I've seen a couple out there for like 20 and $30, which is basically the cost of a butane torch.
Yep.
Or a propane torch, I mean. So, yeah, trimmer, absolutely. Some sort of case trimmer, whether it's the cheap Lee or a really nice fancy one, that is vital. You need to have a case trimmer. An annealer is a luxury because you can still load that brass without an annealer, but you're not going to get as many loadings out of it. So, if 6.5 is the only rifle you're loading and you're not shooting a lot of it, it honestly, practicality wise, it's probably not very practical to go buy an annealer right now.
Hey, what's that? What's his name that you're talking about? The Facebook user, Shane.
Oh, that was Shane. Yeah,
Shane. If you go, or anyone listening, if you go onto our YouTube channel, Jim has a video that he posted of the annealees, and I have a video of the little Annie annealer, so you can at least go and see what an annealer does, how it works, and get a better feel of it off of Jim and I's video, and kind of make a determination of what you're thinking at that point. But yeah, an annealer is a luxury.
And Roddy's got a good comment here, Travis. The two machines you're talking about cost in excess of $200. However, and Roddy's got a good point. You can use a drill with a socket extension and a socket and your torch. In other words, you hold up, you take a cordless drill, put a socket in it, put a socket adapter, put a socket on top of that, drop a case in there, take a propane torch, rotate the case in the flame of the torch, and when you get it warm, just warm enough, drop it in water. It's not going to cost you a whole lot. Most of us have cordless drills to begin with. Some of us have more than one. You can do it. You can anneal for. The only problem is with that is it won't be as consistent as the annealies or the anti-annealer consistency, but it's still annealed.
Yep. You're still gaining the benefit of annealing. So
right, and the point is too, you're bringing your brass back to new brass is what you're doing when you anneal it.
Yep.
You'll learn.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely a benefit to anneal, but it's not a vital. So K24 said he's done the socket thing, works fine. Yeah, it's just a matter of like any of these annealers and all the rest of the stuff that's set up. Whether you're using the drill and socket yourself, or you've got a fancy annealing machine, someone somewhere had to spend some time learning how fast you rotate it, how close to the flame you get it, how long you leave it in the flame. So, I mean, you're gonna wind up doing that with that. And like Rowdy said, he's got his strapped up, so it's a little better. Yeah, and I mean, it wouldn't be much.
So now, Shane, your last comment. So cooling in water after annealing, I see. It's not necessary. You don't have to. That's for convenience on your poor little fingers.
Right, and your personal safety. Whatever you do, don't grab a hot case. Whatever you do. That's why I suggest throwing it in water. No, after I run it through the annealies, I don't throw it in water. I don't have to, because I let it cool off slowly. Travis does the same thing. I've seen his annealer. It's a pretty interesting setup. But, if he threw it in water, it just adds 2 or 3 more steps, because then he's got to turn around and dry the brass.
Correct. Right. So, but, if you're doing the socket and drill method, you may want to put it in water because you may not have anywhere to set it so it can cool. But recommendation is, welding gloves and a cookie sheet.
I did it. First time I ever annealed brass was in a bread pan, cheap bread pan. And I took I put some water in it, put the cases in the pan, stood them all up, and then filled the pan up. There you go. Just like what Travis has in his hot little hand there. I stood them up in water up to the shoulder, then annealed it. And when I annealed the case, all I did was hit it with an ice pick and tipped it over.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there's his perfectly annealed brass right there. Look at the shoulder of that case. He's got a nice blue tinge, just a bare tinge. He didn't over anneal it. But you see that little transition of color right below the shoulder of the case? That's a well annealed case right there.
So Stan said, LOL, okay, sorry for stupid questions. I'm new to this. And I said, the only stupid questions are the ones you don't ask.
That's right.
So.
Jorgen Ragan, you are terrible, sir. You are absolutely terrible. They're talking about taking us down the rabbit hole. Oh, my God. Has anyone tried inconsistently annealed brass versus brass that has yet to be annealed for extreme spread standard deviation? Talk about a rabbit hole. Oh, my God.
I'm sure somebody has somewhere. So.
Good question, Nick. Good question. Look and see. That's what we can tell you.
So Nick B said, is there some good videos on YouTube on how to slug my 9mm barrel? I have a Glock 19 Canic DP9 DA and an AR9 with 16-inch barrel. I take it I should do all 3. Yes, you should. And if you're lucky, they'll be consistent enough that you can use one mold for all of them. Yes, there is some good videos out there. I want to say Brownells actually has one, but I'm not sure. But yeah, there is some good videos out there for slugging barrels. I don't know of any off the top of my head, but so. And our last comment for the night before we sign off, Jorgen Ragan. Is it better to have annealed and lost or not have annealed at all?
Good night. Good night. Good night. And on that note, Mike, keep your breath shiny.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, everybody who shows up live every week. Thanks for everybody who swings over to firearmsradio.tv and hits up the Brownells and the Amazon affiliate links. Thank you to all of our Patreons. We're grateful and appreciative. We're grateful and appreciative for everybody who sends us emails to reloadingpodcast@gmail.com, who sends us voicemails or texts to 608-467-0308. Everybody who is a member over at Reloading Podcast Group, which is one of the two places that this airs live every Tuesday night. We air it live on YouTube and the Reloading Podcast Group every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, unless something drastic happens. So just thanks, everybody. Thanks to everybody who continues to just help us out. And, on that note, keep your brass shiny.
Not a matter of if, but when.
Show a lady how to reload. She just might like it.
Support the Second Amendment. That's all I got to say tonight. 2A all the way.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Bye, y'all.